pretty sleepless night, needless to say. I think any time that you have a performance at home in front of your home crowd on a special night like yesterday or afternoon like yesterday was, it's disappointing. I think more than anything, you feel as a coach that you've disappointed the fans when they come out and support you. So, some assessment of how we played, where we're losing leads, and you try to look at it and assess it and see, okay, what are we doing and what can I do to help them either sustain some energy, sustain focus, and then you have to kind of turn the page pretty quickly. So I think that's what I'll do today. I mean, I need to turn the page quickly and try to get ourselves prepared for Texas Tech, who's playing really well right now. That has a little bit of a similar type playing style to Kansas State. So hopefully we can learn some lessons from yesterday. But again, I've got to find some ways to try to refocus our team in the middle of the game and try to, for a lack of better words, just to get them to sustain some energy that is required in a Big 12 game for 40 minutes.
Question. Coach, after a game like that, is it good that the next game isn't until Saturday, you have some time, or would you rather than get back out there tomorrow?
This schedule's been really strange. So we've had a lot of these midweek, I don't want to say bye weeks, but because of the way the schedule is, we've played Saturday, Monday, we've played Tuesday, and then had four or 5 days off. So you would think, actually, that it would be something that would refresh our kids. But this may be a team that would have been better off turning the page quickly and moving on and playing. I don't know that I know the answer to that. I know that we have a few days where we need to focus on, what do we not do, and how can we improve. To be honest with you, I really feel like I need to play our young kids a little bit more, knowing that they're going to make some mistakes, but they provide some energy that I'm going to have to probably down the stretch of this Big 12 conference play, I'm going to have to sort of roll the dice and let them make some mistakes, because I do think that right now one of our issues is lack of guard depth, and it's just something I think that as I look back I may need to do.
Coach, have you had the conversation with your players after last night's loss, what this does to your chances of hosting in the first round?
I think they knew that. I don't think I have to tell them that was a pretty big blow. But again, if you look at the landscape of women's basketball, it would be hard for me to say anything is not possible right now. I mean, seriously, if you look at the upsets, the unusual scores that you peer at every day, this is about as far as parity. This is as high as it can get right now, I think, in the women's game. And I mean, we went out. I don't think that's out of the question. And there's really not anything that this team is not capable of. It's just finding that key to not having those lulls in the game. So, yes, I know that they know that it hurt our chances. But, again, with the landscape of women's basketball right now, I don't think anybody knows who's going to host except for probably 5 or 6 teams, maybe 10. But there's some open spots for a whole lot of people right now.
What else do you have 4 games left? What else do you want to achieve? Because obviously you want to be playing your best ball.
Yeah, you do. You want to be, kind of on an upswing. And to be honest with you, Kirk, I thought we were.
Yeah.
I just made the comment a week or two ago that I thought we were practicing better. I thought that our energy level had gotten more consistent in practice. I thought we played really hard against Oklahoma State. It wasn't perfect, but I thought we played competitive. We played hard. To be honest with you, we've probably played a little bit better on the road than we have at home this year. And I couldn't possibly have an answer for that because our fans are terrific. but we just seem to be, bless you, a little more comfortable. And that's not a good, you don't get comfortable in sports.
Yeah.
You just don't.
Yeah.
You just can't, you can't do that. So, I do hope that we can achieve, to answer your question, more consistent effort for 40 minutes. I think we have to figure out how to get extra possessions by either, trying to junk it up a little bit defensively. What I mean by that is maybe trying to get into some presses and get, when we're in some lulls offensively, how can we get an easier bucket than what is happening with us? And then I think we have to get back to getting on the offensive boards, which we are not doing a great job of right now. I thought we did at Oklahoma State, and I thought it was a difference in the game. And then last night, I thought we sort of stood around and let the ball bounce around. And I think someone made the comment last night that we lost a lot of 50-50 balls. May have been Cedric. And he was absolutely right. I mean, they won the 50-50 game, and that's something I can't stand. You lose sometimes, and I think I can live with losing because I know that happens sometimes. But it really bothers me when, someone can acknowledge that we didn't win 50-50 balls. That's an effort problem, and I don't like that.
You're talking about home, you get 5 home losses.
Yeah.
This year, which is very unusual.
It's very unusual for us, very.
So, but it's hard to put your finger on, I guess. I'm too comfortable, maybe.
Yeah, it really is hard. I mean, I wish I could come up here and tell you exactly what I think it is, but I don't think that I can.
Yeah.
I could make up something, but no point in doing that.
You guys got Audrey back last night. How are you planning on kind of re-antiquating her into the game plan, or are we not going to see very much of her?
Yeah, no, she's one of that I think I've got to kind of live with some mistakes, because when she gets in there, she is an enormous spark of energy, and so is Joe. But they make mistakes. They're inexperienced, and they're overzealous sometimes. So they'll get in the game, they'll overplay, they'll foul, they'll try to make a play happen on offense real fast. If you look at Audrey's minutes last night, she made a couple of really good things happen, but we had some turnovers, some quick shots that I'm probably just going to have to live with, because when I looked at the film, I mean, you looked at midway through the third quarter after we made the run, and I think our guards kind of got fatigued a little bit, and we've got to inject some energy and give them some time to sit for a minute. I mean, I've got a rotation going between 4 post players, and we try to keep those guys energized, but the guards, my 3 starting guards are playing a lot of minutes, and I'm going to have to disperse those minutes a little differently. So Audrey can be a big key for that, just because she is an energy player.
Would that include Shug maybe taking a decrease in minutes, because she's someone who's played close to 40 minutes a game?
I think it wouldn't hurt her. I do. And I think that's a little bit of a dilemma right now. We don't have a true point when you get past Shug. So Des is doing an honorable job of it, but that's, she's a very inexperienced player, which by now she actually has had a lot of experience, but she's not a true point. So when Shug goes out, it's a little bit of a dilemma, but again, I think it's something that, as you asked, what are we going to do these last 4 or 5 games as we head into tournament play? I mean, we've got to find some answers for fatigue with our guards, and try to inject some energy and some enthusiasm in our team.
What happened with Joyner yesterday? I know she got in foul trouble. 24 minutes.
Yeah, she did. I mean, early foul trouble for her, and I thought she came out of the gates really well. Had a couple of really nice assists early in the game. Energy level was very high, and she looked really tuned in. And then she got the quick foul, and then got the over-the-back foul on the second one. And I think anytime Joyner has a sit for a long time, it's not a great thing. You want to keep her engaged, you want to keep her sharp, focused, and all of that. And it definitely got her out of sync, and I don't know that she ever got back in sync in the second half.
How important is it? It just seems like, you depend on Joyner and Shug so much. If they both have a bad game.
Yeah,
It
yeah, it does. It does. And I mean, as much as Again, with the lack of depth at the point guard position, Suge has a lot of responsibility on her, and I think, sometimes I look back at film and I'm going, okay, that she should have made a better decision here, but I don't know that fatigue isn't causing sometimes an inept decision that, they're all trying the best that they can, but again, those three guards are playing a lot of minutes. They've logged a lot of minutes all year long, and we've got to, try to figure something out with that. Jada's got to give us more minutes. She comes in some games, and I think she really gives us a lift. I thought Audrey, based on practice, Audrey might be able to get in some seams against the zone yesterday. So that's, again, I've got to try to play them all right now at this point and try to, again, I keep using the word inject some energy, but it's because when you look at the film, we go through these lulls where we just don't seem very energized.
What do you look for from Jada Underwood? Because she's someone whose performance doesn't always show up in the stat column.
Yeah, she does have to do kind of the blue collar things. She's got to guard sometimes the other team's best player, try to get us some offensive rebounds, run the floor, and do some blue collar, make some open jump shots. I think Audrey and Jada just have to, sometimes it's a matchup, and we definitely have, we have Audrey, Jada, and Joe on the perimeter, and I've got to find a way to use all of them. And I will say that I think Charlie Collier is playing extremely well right now. If you look at, and again, she makes some freshman mistakes, no question, especially defensively. Sometimes she forgets the plays, some normal things that freshmen do. But if you look at her minutes and her effectiveness and the amount of minutes that she's playing, I'm probably going to need to increase her minutes.
Going back to your big situation a little bit, Joyner at times has looked like one of the better players in the Big 12, not the country at the forward spot. How do you get her to be more consistent and do this on a night-to-night basis?
No, I think that's kind of the million-dollar question, to be honest with you. I think she needs to get in the gym. I think she needs reps, footwork reps, so that she can become more confident and consistent on her, on her little 15-foot shot in the high post. Get on 2 feet, just some things that I think involve practice, reps. Try to do the basics. I think sometimes a lot of players make it a little more difficult than what it is. The simple thing sometimes is just to pause for a minute or to get on 2 feet where you have a better opportunity to make a good decision offensively. And so something I've talked to Joyner about is, you get on the offensive boards because she's such a powerful player, yet I think she gets caught sometimes standing around where, how can you get your team and yourself some extra possessions? And to me, the answer to that is offensive rebounding.
Right now, you guys are within half a game of third place in the Big 12, and that's something you guys haven't been in a really long time. Is there any sort of sense of panic setting in?
Well, no. There's no time to panic. We have a 20-win season. We've had a lot of adversity, and I was extremely proud when we won the 20 games last Tuesday. And this is just it's a setback. Like you put your sleeves up and you go to work. You don't have a choice. It's not the end of the world. I'm disappointed. I'm sure they're disappointed, but we just need to go back to work. That's the only answer to that.
It has been one weird season. A lot of programs would kill for 20 wins, obviously, but it almost feel like it hadn't gotten into that true rhythm and just kind of steadily go up. Obviously,
I think that's a great word for it. We have not gotten into a rhythm.
Yeah.
It just,
It's kind of been a struggle.
you find a team sometimes where you just go through stages where people kind of come in and out of the lineup, and I think that's the best word you could use for our team, is that we've just never gotten into a comfortable rhythm, even to the point of comfort with, okay, this is the lineup, that we trust to start the game, and these are the people that are going to come in and do their job, and you get comfort in rotation. And we have just not been able to get into that. I thought we were close before Audrey got hurt, because I think they all kind of knew where their niche was, and you know, if you look back, I mean, she was a really good energy player for us, and I think when you come off the bench, that's kind of your role sometimes. I mean, you've got to provide some energy and give those guys that play the extended minutes a lift and let them feel like, okay, yeah, I can go back in. Somebody injected some energy into our team, and I think that I think we can get that back. I think I've just got to, like I said earlier, I've got to roll the dice a little bit with these young guys.
Did any of the players say anything in the locker room afterward, or were they mostly quiet and just kind of...
You know, it's kind of interesting. About 3 years ago, I think, I was listening to a conference at the Final Four, and I heard, it's a long story, but I heard Bill Finley speak. He was doing a marketing conference. To be honest with you, it was for marketing women's basketball, and he was talking about how after every game they do autographs, they go into the stands, and they engage with their fans. And he said, I don't talk to the team afterwards, and that's probably a good thing. I thought it was funny, but it gave me that idea of, okay, first of all, why don't we do autographs? Let's see if we can engage with our fans, and then maybe that's not a bad idea. Because to be honest with you, sometimes you think something, and then you go back and watch the film, and you're like, that's not, that may have been somebody else's rotation, or maybe, maybe that was not as bad of a shot, or maybe we could have had a better shot. And when film doesn't lie, eye in the sky just doesn't lie. And it gives you some time to have some perspective instead of saying something that might be emotional. That, we had family night last night. It wasn't the grandest thing in the world, but I tell you what, we went up there and it's still family. I mean, we went up there, we had snacks, and everybody engaged with their families and introduced their families. And I mean, we have managers that's family was there, or it's still, I mean, it is a game, but there's more to it than that, and that wouldn't have been fair to everybody's families that came down here for,
But you haven't adopted that, not talking to them yet.
I have adopted it. That's what I do not talk to, I haven't done that in a couple of years now. I haven't gone in the locker room in home games because we usually do autographs or fast break or something where, but I thought it was a genius idea.
So when was the first time after game one, or was that you addressed them as a team?
I actually do in the away games, if you can. I mean, it's because we're in there, like you're breaking up to go get on the bus and get in the shower. So we usually say something. But again, the purpose, I'm really not saying that it's because I don't want to talk to them or I don't think I should. Really, the purpose of what he was saying is that he thought it was great that the kids engaged with the fans. Okay. When it's over with, you've got little ones that are in your community that want autographs, and they want to touch your players, and they want pictures made and all of that. So I thought it was a great idea, but again, he probably is. He's been doing this a long time.
But it wasn't so
he's smarter than I am.
That I wish I had said that. A little bit of that, maybe?
Probably, a little bit.
Yeah.
Time for a couple more if you have them.
You guys only have one loss on the road, but you have 5 at home this season. What's been the night and day between on the road as opposed to defending home court?
Again, if I had an answer, I would fix it. I don't know the answer to that. You could make up something or what you think it is, but I don't know that I know the answer. I mean, you get them on the road and they're isolated. It's just them. I mean, sometimes they sleep in. They don't go to class on game day, because we fly in the night before. So there are some things that you could link to their focus. All they have is each other. There's not a whole lot of people. in the stands on the road. We have a pretty good group that travels with us, and Danny seems to have an entourage everywhere we go. But for the for the most part, we're kind of in it together, and I guess there's a possibility they're just focusing better, but again, I don't know the answer to that. I mean, we've been great at home. I mean, when you have your fans in front of you, and they're supposed to energize you, and they sure try. I thought the fans were great yesterday, and hard for me to understand how we could, have a lull in a game like that where you've got survivors in front of you, and you're trying to play for a cause. And I mean, I don't understand.
Maybe they can cut class on home days.
Yeah, maybe that's a good answer.
What's it going to take to beat Texas Tech?
They're really, really good on the boards. I will say that we better bring our hard hats, because they've got 2 or 3 kids that are up in the top 5 in our league in rebounding, and they're big, they're hungry, they play probably as hard as anybody in our league plays, because they are, they're tired of being where they are, and they want to get out of where they are, and they're playing their rear ends off. So I would say that the first thing we have to worry about is our effort and our ability to play for 40 minutes, because they're going to. I mean, they had West Virginia on the ropes at West Virginia. They're not scared of anybody because they have no fear. They're playing for pride. They're playing to try to improve their program, and there's absolutely no fear in that team at all. So we're going to have to bring our hard hat.